Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
All right, Bill, I'm excited for today's show. It's Masters Week, which I'm actually excited about. You have converted me into a golf fan. I don't know how you did this,
John,
but you did this.
There's nothing like, I've talked to so many people that go to the Masters. There's nothing like watching it on TV. TV shows you everything. If you're at the course, you can't really grasp and understand and appreciate what the TV shows you with the music in the background, and the drones flying around showing the beautiful flowers and the foliage and the clubhouse, and there's nothing like it. So I would really appreciate if you get to watch a couple holes.
That's
of
on
the Masters.
Is it this Friday is the first day? Or
Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay.
Thursday.
Wow. Okay. So it's a 3 or 4 day event.
4-day event.
Leading up to the big finale on Sunday.
It's a known as a gentleman's sport. So,
okay.
So this will be it'll be a good experience just to watch a couple holes and grasp what's going on. Maybe walk up 18 or something, which is like a historic thing.
And the big news is obviously Tiger has announced he's playing.
Tiger is playing, and I'm just hoping he takes that first shot. Make sure he does get out there, because I have a pretty large bet on him teeing off down at Circa. Which they have a ton of Tiger props. And, it's funny. The over-under on his first score, 75.5, is being bet under. So I guess they think he thinks after his announcement saying that he's going to play to win.
Yeah.
Well, what would he say? I'm just playing. Oh, thanks for having me. I was glad I could just get out here for a couple holes. No, that's not Tiger's competitive spirit.
Huge story if he wins, right?
Yeah, it's huge that he's playing. Ticket prices literally went up 25, 30, 40, 50%.
Wow.
So it's not uncommon to see a weekend pass just for the weekend go for like $8,000 just for 2 days. So so we're excited for that. We're excited for it. We have a good guest,
We have a great guest. We've got Bob Papa, who is the play-by-play voice for the New York Giants, and also he's been on the Golf Channel
for years.
He
called the Masters for years. I didn't even know, from 2003 to 2018. And doing some research, he's been. He knows a lot. He's been around with all the NFL guys. He did some of the primetime football games with Collingsworth and Michaels and those guys. And,
So we will talk to him a little later in the show. And but first, on Monday, we college basketball came to an end. The national championship happened, and it was a nail biter.
Yeah,
of the game.
At the end, it wound up being. North Carolina was up by 15. Blew the game and lost by 3. Probably shouldn't even have covered. Literally, there's tons of videos and stuff on this. And they inbound the ball. They have the ball with 4 seconds left, meaning Kansas, and they literally stepped out of bounds with 4 seconds. There's 3 seconds left, and if they foul him, which they were going to foul the guy, they go to the line, and I'm sure they would have at least made 1 of 2, which would have been a push, and probably 2 of 2.
Right.
And that would have been billions of dollars.
Yeah,
would have changed hands.
That's a big swing, right?
Oh, it's national. Everyone had a bet on the game. Everyone was betting the game except for me. But I didn't even hardly watch. I literally, it's a good bet. It's a good game to bet live. But when there's so much media attention, so much coverage on a game like this, it's really hard to come out. Look what happened. The line was so good that it should have landed around the line, which it did, 3, but it could have landed right on the line.
Right.
So that's gambling to me. I'm not interested in the gamble. I'm looking to steal.
Yeah. Okay, and what else here coming up? Big UFC fight this weekend.
Okay.
We've got Aljamain Sterling is.
Let me look at that current odds.
Yeah.
One of our producers,
huge underdog.
One of our producers was laughing at you.
He was, because he says that Sterling has no chance. This is a rematch. So Sterling is technically the champ in that division, but a lot of people don't give him credit for being the champ because he won it by disqualification against the guy he's fighting this weekend.
Well, Jan's got all the actions on. It opened up about minus 370. It's minus. Some sites have it minus about 510, 520 now. DraftKings. I'm looking at Circa. also, which opened at 400, is now minus 455. So you could take about 375 on your guy.
Yeah. He's a really nice guy too. I've met him before. He's a super nice guy. He's been training like crazy. His body is in ridiculous shape. And imagine being crowned the champion due to a disqualification and the hate that you get on Instagram for posting things as the champ or a photo with the belt around you, and you won it because your opponent need you while you were down, which you're not allowed to do. So people call him, he's the paper champion, or they don't really respect him as the champ. So he's had well over a year of dealing with this hate, and I just think that's fueled the fire, and I think he's going to come out. And, I'm sure he's watched the tape of the first fight over and over and over, which he was getting beat. And I'm sure he's going to come in and make some adjustments. Look, obviously anything can happen. And I get why people say, he basically got dominated the first time they fought. So I understand why he's a big dog. But, there's value there, right?
Wow. I mean, look, I'm not looking to lay 5-1 on anybody. That's for sure.
Right.
Opening day baseball. That's our sport. It's like a sport we grew up with, too.
Isn't it? Did you watch any spring training? I watched partial spring training games. I watched Dodgers, Angels.
No, I didn't.
It's just, it makes
I
you
liked
feel
going to
good.
a couple spring training games. I was down in Tampa going to the Yankee games a couple years back. It's a great venue, and these places are great to watch all your stars close up that you love and athletes you grew up with and rooting for. It's really cool. But both of our dads, even my grandfather. Was your grandfather too a baseball fan? My grandfather grew up
Yankees.
Yankees.
Yep.
They had to be home every night for the Yankee game. That was the big thing to do.
Yeah.
There was no social media. There was a couple stations on the TV to watch, and literally life. Even my dad, when he retired, life was all about Yankee games, and it was our discussions we had the next day. Talking about the Yankee games. So
you ever turn on like an afternoon game and kind of like take a little nap during the game,
sure.
Wake up, watch some more, fall back asleep?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I know, Pete, that's what
mostly it's a boring sport for most people. I don't know, maybe because I grew up playing baseball too. Baseball was the sport we played. My father was the coach of a minor league team. My little brother. And
really?
Yeah. So
wow.
Baseball is our first true love.
It's the year of the Dodgers this year, Bill.
You think so? Yeah, 90. Will they win 99 games?
Yes.
Over under. Yeah. Last year, you put people in a funeral home with your prediction. So hopefully they'll revive with some secret stuff.
I'm excited. I am excited. So what else here we've got with baseball?
Yeah, baseball. Important tips, actually.
Oh,
too.
right.
Dime line.
Yes.
How can we forget this?
So tell me about this.
Yeah, let me tell you about this. So,
okay.
I know, like, most people don't respect the line. They'll just go into the one casino they're in and just bet there, whatever it is.
Right.
Literally, I have a guy that lives in my building that went to the Westgate and he just bet the money line on a game. He don't even shop it. He doesn't realize that there's definitely more places out there that you can have money in your apps, because you need to have multiple outs for baseball season. Mm-hmm. I've said it in the past. Lots of these places don't have 10-cent lines. What that means is you're laying 105 on both sides of the game. I'll go up the scale a little bit. If it's minus 140 on the favorite, it comes back $1.30 on the underdog. Some places $1.40 takes back $1.20. Some of the newer places that came into the country recently in the past couple of years, they're just literally price gouging. Like minus 150, come back 122. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I would stay away from them.
Because what should it be?
Minus 150 plus 140.
Right.
Yeah, they were getting plus 122. Doesn't sound like a lot, 18 cents, right?
Right.
Over the season, it equals so much money, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, that's not to say that they don't overmove the favorite so much that sometimes I find the best price on a dog actually at one of those type of shops, because they overmove the favorite so much, because a big casino player will come in and just want to bet, the Dodgers minus 220 no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even though they can lay $1.95 somewhere on it, doesn't matter. So they'll move it to get some equal action. They'll actually put the dog plus 200 or whatever it may be.
This is such good stuff, and I think valuable stuff. And I think in those rare times, like you mentioned, I don't know if it was last month or the month before, was your first losing month in a long time.
Yeah, February.
Just this type of wisdom, I don't think, and I don't even know if you get, when you have like a month like that,
right,
are people DMing you or whatever, some of the customers like frustrated or whatever?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know if they even respect or understand just this knowledge you just gave on these tips with the line is also the difference of them being able to handle that losing month, not to mention the bankroll management piece of it. But this is all factored in that, like, knowing this type of stuff is what lets you play the long game profitably.
I've dealt with the sharpest syndicate sports groups over the years, the sharpest of the sharp. I don't know if they can beat one single sports book. That's how hard it is. They would win because they're originators. They would win. But the amount of units they would lose because they're not shopping a line over the long period would be unbelievable. So if you're serious about betting, you have to have different, you come to town here, you definitely want to have like William Hill, Circa, Westgate. You want to have, and stations. You want to have those 4 apps funded. Before you leave, it's a little bit of legwork, but you go around, you take the money. If you're serious, if you're betting $20 a game, $10 a game, I guess not. But some girl just came in and flashed us. So I don't know who that was, but if you want to come back in again, you're welcome to.
That was Jamie Villamore from the Dating Intelligence podcast.
Oh, yes. Okay. Fantastic. Oof, doesn't usually happen. Okay. Let's,
turn the fan on high, Travis. So, no, but I think that's really valuable stuff because, so many, they're excited about the wins, but they don't realize that there's a way to lose better, right?
Yeah.
There's a way to minimize.
Just think about the 18 cents I said on one game.
Yeah.
Imagine if that happens during 6 games. That's a whole unit. I mean,
right.
So it really is very, very key to. Yeah. I do a lot of totals throughout the season. I kind of like totals more than sides. I'm going to do a lot of first fives this year. Going to be focused on starting pitching. There's some big factors to consider when you are betting totals, though. Starting pitcher matchup, like I said, is very important. Whether home plate umpires, there's so many different things that certain venues like Wrigley Field, you got to check the weather there. It's amazing betting Wrigley over the years. I've seen totals jump a full point from like 7.5 to 8.5 runs.
Colorado too, I would imagine.
Colorado every year has been so different. They try to make it a kind of a stadium that they're trying to produce lower runs because they're out of control runs. But again, you always want to make sure you know about the key numbers too. In other words, the 7 and the 9, the odd numbers, which games land on 5-4, 6, whatever it may.
Yep.
When games are 4-4, you want to make sure. Like I literally on those two numbers, like I'd rather take over 6.5 minus a quarter than take over 7 minus 110. You know what I'm saying? So I'd lay the extra juice on that. Laying the extra 20 cents over a push on a key number like a 7, and also this year is going to be a little bit different. You have some new rules, the DH.
The DH in the National League.
Yeah, is now don't forget. Now it doesn't mean you're automatically going to, I got to bet over. It's baked in the line already too. So, shop and get the best line you can get anywhere, and that'll just some good tips for baseball.
That's good stuff. Which brings me to you guys listening should download, if you have not already, download the Crackwinds app or just go to crackwinds.com. The app is available on Apple and Google Play. Last year, Crackwinds members went 132-98, including the 30-1 win on Ohtani winning the MVP. That was an incredible future bet you gave out. That alone to me is worth.
That was a great future.
Joining.
I remember being in the car that day going over that with my assistant.
Yeah,
and it was just so like, do we send a 30-1 shot out? And I actually bet it at the same time. The sports book I betted at only allowed a $30 bet. I think it was $33 to win 1,000. It was the max. So I kept on betting it. I literally was betting. I think I bet it 22 times. I kept on betting it for $33. I'm surprised they took it over and over and over. So that was a very big game. A very, very big prop for us. And I'm glad that won. And again, when we say a record of 132-98, I think you said it was, that you gotta understand, we're betting a lot of underdogs too, so that gets thrown in the mix.
There's a lot of value in that 132.
If you're betting favorites and laying 2-1, 132-98, you lose. So they want to make sure people know that. I'm really big on talking about being fully transparent and stuff. So
yeah, and an example to that point I'd like to point out is like you kind of know at the beginning of the year the teams that are probably going to win 90-plus games, right?
Sure.
You know the Dodgers will be there. You know the Yankees will be there, right?
Yep.
You know the teams that will be there. It's not just as simple as betting on – if you just bet the Dodgers every single day, you're probably not going to be winning, even though if they go 162, right?
Yeah.
You still could potentially lose money in that scenario.
You could potentially lose them. They're going to be 2-1 every day.
Right.
So you could, you could potentially lose money. Sorry, my mind's still on the girl that
yeah.
came in and flashed. Just hit me again. I thought about it again. That's the first time that happened on any show.
Yes,
thousands of shows over the years.
It's a Wisecracks first.
It's a Wisecrack first, too. Yes, so crackwins.com, Crackwins app. Baseball season's here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. We can still have some golf and some other things that we're giving out. Give out a couple of NASCAR plays. Also, that works in. We got an exacta here with WSN.com.
Yeah.
So I'm on the site right now, WSN.com.
I would think maybe with the Masters, there's probably some good bonuses, right?
Yeah. No,
there's bonuses every day.
Bonuses every day.
Yeah.
I'll get to the bonuses in a second. First on the all of our episodes are on there for Wisecracks. The latest predictions, odds, and news. Fantastic articles updated daily. U.S. sports betting news, different all the states, what's going on, and even like despite 60% support from Massachusetts senators, sports betting continues to stall in Massachusetts. Shocking. I don't get it, but there's an article on there on that. Of course, we got the bonuses, and I'm clicking on that. You click on bonuses there, a drop down menu, all the states that are legal to bet. I'll click on the first one, New Jersey, and there's thousands of dollars in bonuses to be picked up. Here is even a new one on there, Betway. I didn't see that. $250 free, risk-free. Betway, it's a brand new one. Tipico's on there, which is $750. That's so simple, too. I actually went to the cage at the Ocean Casino, funded my Tipico account, went and sat down on the sports book, which is a different brand, by the way. Bet a little bit, watched a little games, bet my Tipico account, went back and cashed out the money that night. So even if you're just doing a little bonus whoring, it's easy. It's very easy to do in New Jersey. So
yeah.
There you go.
Wow. All right, Bill, we've got a fun guest today. He's the radio voice of the New York Giants. He works on the Golf Channel. He's been on the radio voice of the Nets and has called numerous boxing events, including part of the Summer Olympics. The man has done it all. He looks as good as George Clooney, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Welcome, Bob Papa, to Wisecracks.
Bob, thanks for being
pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Waiting for the invite.
Cool. Thanks for coming on, man. First, let's discuss the big event. The Masters is here, so I wanted to get your opinion on a couple things. You do work for the Golf Channel, so I figured you have some experience, especially with him, and it's already literally the best event in my opinion. I love the Masters. I actually was supposed to go this year, and last minute I decided. I go to Hilton Head every year for the Heritage next week, which I am going. My friend has a great house on the 18th hole. So I didn't come this year, but I didn't go this year. But I really love this Masters. I just want I want your thoughts about Tiger Woods. Did you hear about him playing, coming back? And they actually, out here in Vegas, they actually put yes or no, will Tiger Woods play? And I actually did bet yes. I laid about 3-1 and then 4-1. And then literally thought about betting the other way, John, because he went to 15-1. I thought about going back and taking 10-1 on the no. Look at this hedge I have, but I didn't. And so what do you think? How do you think he'll do? I mean, yesterday he announced that he actually said he thinks he can win.
He says he's going to win.
Very serious face. What do you think, Bob?
Well, you never put anything past Tiger, right? He wouldn't go there to play ceremonial golf just to say, hey, I'm coming back. I just want to play it and be there. He is going there with the mindset like he could win. Remember when he had those domestic issues like 10, 11 years ago?
Sure.
He showed up, had not played in quite a while, and finished tied for fourth. I think he's going to make the cut. I got to be honest with you. He would not go there if he didn't feel that his game was good enough. Now, he's thinking he can win. I don't see that happening. But I'm really good friends with his caddy, Joe LaCava. And, Joe doesn't give really any information other than he's excited to be there. But it's an incredible event. I called the Masters on radio, from 2003 to 2018, sitting in the tower at 18.
Wow.
And it is the best sporting event, best run sporting event in the entire world. So I think when Tiger's playing and he's in some kind of contention, it is a different kind of animal.
Wow. That's also a bet here in Vegas. I'm reading it right from the circle. The Masters, will Tiger Woods make the cut? The no is minus 135. The yes is plus 115. So I actually do. That's an interesting bet. I like it. His first round at 74.5 was 75.5 yesterday. So people are actually saying he's going to have a under 74.5 or under 75.5. So that's interesting. And
can I tell you why I feel that way?
Sure.
All right. So one of the things, when Tiger was younger and healthier, he bombed it past just about everybody. So he was hitting shorter irons into greens, and his length was a big factor. And then they started Tiger proofing golf courses, including Augusta National, where they started adding length to a lot of golf courses to make it Tiger proof. But Tiger has also been one of the great mental players, a la Jack Nicklaus, where he would stick to a game plan, plot a game plan, stick to it. Remember when he won the British Open, the Open Championship, in his heyday, he was the only player in the field. I think the golf course had like 179 bunkers. They had bunkers in the middle of the fairway, and it's all hidden because of its link style golf. He didn't hit one ball in a bunker the entire week. He didn't hit driver. He hit irons, driving irons, stingers, and he played to certain spots on the golf course. Well, he's come to terms with the fact that he's not the longest by far anymore, and that he can't overpower a golf course. But who better than plotting his way around a golf course and staying disciplined enough to stay to his plan? So I think the new reconstructed Tiger Woods will play point A to point B and not try to skip any points in trying to get the ball in the hole.
What a fantastic breakdown. I'm glad that you actually broke in there and said that, because that is a fantastic point. Very interesting, John.
Bob, I'm curious that you said something that was interesting to me. You said, you've called golf. You've obviously called tons of sports, golf, boxing, football. Is in acting, when you're an actor, you get pigeonholed into playing a certain type of role. You're an action star or you're a comedy guy. Very rare can you cross over. Is it hard to cross over in broadcasting? And do you have to go to the network and say, hey, I can call golf like before you ever did it before? Or is it is it just as easy as saying I can do it and they let you?
Well, I mean, you have to have some confidence, right? You have to be into the preparation part of it. So when I was starting out my career after I graduated from Fordham University in 1986, I was doing strictly radio. And there was an opportunity to do boxing on TV with the group that, I guess it was the forerunner to Fox Sports Channel America. And they were the Duva family was running this for Sports Channel America. It was their sort of answer to Top Rank Boxing that was on ESPN. So my mentor, the great Marty Glickman, had said to me, hey, look, I think you should go for this. I'm like, Marty, I love boxing, but I want to be on TV doing football and basketball and those sports. And he said, look, your fastest way on the television is boxing. There's only a few people doing it on television. That can open up the door for you. So I kind of lied a little bit about my boxing experience as a broadcaster, but I was a fan of it. And I auditioned for the job, and I beat out a couple of more prominent guys. And that's how I got my foothold into boxing, which then led to Olympic work, and then working for the various boxing outlets. And then, when I did boxing for NBC at the 92 Olympics, the 96 Olympics, and then in the 2000 Olympics, they asked me if I'd be interested, because Marv Albert wanted to do the boxing, if I would try something else. So I did men's and women's water polo. And I did the rowing leading up to the Olympics. So I learned some other sports. And then when NBC got the Winter Olympics starting in 2002 in Salt Lake City, they said, hey, we're going to put you on biathlon and cross country, which I fell in love with that. And then
Wow.
Then the next Winter Olympics, we're going to put you on bobsled, skeleton, and luge. We're going to put you on ski jumping. I did curling in Salt Lake City because the two guys that were doing curling got laryngitis, so they took me from my venue. And then you learn these sports on the fly, and I think it adds to your versatility and your resume. And once people know that you can do a lot of different sports, it opens up more doors for you, and it always keeps your avenues open.
Wow, fantastic. I didn't know you did all those other sports, Bob. That's what you ever pinch yourself and say, is this real? I mean, like wow, how much the things you've done. You've done the Olympics. Well, I thought you just did a couple of them. I knew you did a few, but all of them you just mentioned. Curling this year was a big topic here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Everyone loved the curling. It was like a big thing in Vegas. That was on the betting events and stuff. I never knew you called that. So that's really that's great. That's great. I know you did the boxing with Teddy, our mutual buddy, and you guys did it for years for the Olympics. Let's go back to the Masters real quick. This course has the hills and undulations. This is really a tough golf course, even to walk as a fan. Do you think Walt? Do you think how do you think Tiger's going to handle that? I thought maybe they wouldn't make an exception, of course, and give a golf course that would be a golf cart. That would be very unfair to other golfers. Do you think that it's going to be tough to handle those type of conditions for Tiger, or do you think that he's Tiger, he can do anything?
Well, he talked about, the pain that he feels, and he says that's not going away. I'm dealing with the pain, but it must be at a manageable point. Remember when he won the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines in 2008? I mean, he had a fractured knee and needed reconstructive surgery on his knee. It was basically a broken leg he was playing on, and he still beat Rocco Medici in that famous playoff. So his pain tolerance is obviously very high. From what I've been told, within the last week or so, he plays out of Florida, and at Medalist, where he's a member, he played 4 days in a row, walking, and played them as if he was playing a tournament to see how his leg would respond. Then he got on the private jet, he went to Augusta, and he played, I guess, back-to-back days to see, because that is one of the hardest walks in all of golf. And he's played these 9-hole practice rounds. So I'm guessing that based on what he did at Medalist last week and then flying to Augusta and getting in around there, his body must have responded favorably enough for him to believe that he could really go out there and compete. Because remember, you're not just playing the 72 holes. He's played practice rounds already this week. He's gone out for 9 holes here. He's played 18 there. So that has a cumulative effect. So he must feel that he's pretty good to go, at least to be able to be competitive and not have to WD or not be able to perform at a good enough level, because the last thing any superstar athlete, the elite of the elite, ever want to do is embarrass themselves. Sure. So I'm guessing that he has already put his body through enough of those tests where he's confident.
Bob, you wouldn't believe, and I'm going to tell John this for the first time too, you wouldn't believe the passes I had for Wednesday, Thursday, how much money they have resold for because Tiger is there. I mean, insane. I mean, there's $75 on the ticket. I have a pretty good connection to get him for free. And literally, easily today was $1,000. More.
Really?
1,500 easily though. Tomorrow, Thursday, about 3,500.
Really?
Yeah, it's about that much. It's about 14,000 for a 4-day pass. It's amazing how much these secondary markets are on the mat for the Masters. So, you like anyone else, Bob? Do you think anyone else have a good showing at the Masters? You have any? This is your wheelhouse here, calling it for all those years too. Do you think anyone else can have a pretty good showing this year? Who you've been following, or who you think may show up on the board there, leaderboard?
Well, I mean, Tiger's good buddy Justin Thomas is someone that everybody's talking about. He's got the game. He's won a major. I would look for a guy like Xander Schauffele, who has never won a major, but Xander was a guy that in the last 2 spins around Augusta has been right in contention, and he was right there last year, and then he rinsed it at 16, and Hideki Matsuyama wound up winning. So I like a guy like Xander Schauffele. Colin Morikawa is as good a player as there is on the earth. I'm partial to some of these guys because Scotty Scheffler, who's world number 1, because we do all the college golf on Golf Channel, and Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Matthew Wolff, Scotty Scheffler, all these guys have come through, and you've seen them on TV on Golf Channel. In fact, when Tiger last won the Masters in 2019, Colin Morikawa, who's now a favorite in the Masters, was playing in the event that I'll be working in California Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the Western Intercollegiate. So that's how fast they go through and how quickly they go to the top. Listen, John Rahm is always a factor because of his length. Can he stay patient? Tends to lose his temper a little bit. And then you have to always look to the Europeans and the foreign-born players because they seem to perform well. I think there's more international winners of the 3 majors that are played in the United States of the Masters than any of the other ones. So the course sets up well for guys coming off the European tour. But I think there's a strong contingent of Americans and guys like Morikawa. Watch for a guy like Will Zalatoris, who I think can make a run. And then Sam Burns. Sam Burns was a stud player at LSU. He has had tremendous finishes. We haven't had a debut winner at Augusta since Fuzzy Zeller did it, I think, back in 1979. But I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Burns is in the mix coming over the weekend.
Excellent. John?
Wow. Listen, I had another question for you. I grew up a Dodger fan, listening to Vin Scully on the radio, almost every single game. Is there more fun doing just a radio broadcast because is the approach different because you're really trying to paint the picture for the people since they're not actually watching it on TV?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's much more casual, right? I mean, it's a very cost-friendly thing for the teams because there's a set piece of radio equipment, there's a couple of microphones, and you got your talent. TV is, just a vast production. I mean, a normal Golf Channel telecast has, 75 people on the production team, and when I was doing boxing for HBO, it's like 65 people. Well, radio, you need the play-by-play, the color guy, maybe a sideline guy, producer, engineer, 5 people max. It frees you up a little bit. It's fun. Just think of it this way. Your job on TV as a play-by-play guy is to get it right. And then like when I did Thursday Night Football with Chris Collinsworth, and then I did it with Matt Millen and Joe Theismann, did the boxing with Teddy. Your job is to set up your analysts because TV is it's all about the analyst augmenting the broadcast. Whereas on radio, it's about the play-by-play guy because you are the camera.
Right.
When you're watching it on TV, what do you see on TV? Some of the best TV that you ever do as a broadcaster in a big moment is to know when to lay out, when to shut up, when not to say anything, and just let the pictures and the natural sound tell the story that everybody's watching. And then, you pick the appropriate time to jump in. Well, you can't do that on radio. Radio, you are the camera. Your eyes as the play-by-play guy are the camera. And then your skill set is how do you fit in the color guy to allow him, the analyst, to do the best that he can in explaining. But without you as the camera, your listener is completely lost.
There's so many layers to it, I don't think the broadcasters as a whole get the credit they deserve.
Listen, I'm not bragging about our show, but we've had a lot of good guests. We've had, from Dick Vitale, Marcus Allen. Bob, you're one of the most well-spoken guests we've ever had.
Agreed.
Just so I'm not trying to down those guys. I'm just saying, you really are very well spoken. Love it. But I got to talk a little bit about New York, New Jersey now, because I'm from that area. John's actually born in Inglewood.
That's all I know, really. We moved to LA when I was 3.
That's right. So. That was close to where you were. You born in Jersey or
born in the Bronx, but as a young kid moved to Dumont in Bergen County, which isn't that far from Englewood.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. So we're in New York, New Jersey guys. I grew up on the Jersey Shore down in a little blue collar town, Kingsburg, New Jersey, also from the Bronx, though, originally. I got to talk about New York and New Jersey making sports betting legal now. And, I've been hearing it on broadcast. We've been hearing it on Monday Night Football and stuff. And Al and those guys have been talking, hinting towards gambling for years. Now it's every network kind of talks about it. Have you seen an impact yourself of the gambling aspect of it? People are more interested in lines. Are you allowed more freedom to talk about it on air and spread and things like that? Or you really don't get into that?
It's interesting that you mention that because my Giants job, I'm an employee, an independent contractor, but I'm an employee of the team. So you have to sign a disclosure. You can't bet on any of the stuff.
Sure.
So you kind of will dance around it a little bit on my Sirius XM NFL radio show. We'll touch upon it, but there's other channels that pay more attention to it.
Gotcha.
So listen, if you grew up in New York and New Jersey, lines, over-unders, and everything, especially, if you grew up in a blue-collar environment, that's been the lingo of your life anyway. So it's something that you always pay attention to. But, yeah, I mean, it started with fantasy football, which Carl Banks and I, my broadcast partner and two-time Super Bowl champion with the Giants, he said this right away. When daily fantasy started, he goes, that's just gambling, but said in a nice way. And, as it's become more prevalent with fantasy football and now gambling, yeah, there's a lot more interest in it. And, people are interested in individuals because of all the different prop bets and stuff like that. And
sure, I
feel like teams are a little bit less, fans are a little bit less loyal to their teams because they have more options and more rooting interests.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's give a plug for your show. How can people listen to your podcast with you and Mr. Banks?
It's on the Believe Podcast Network, Believe in Giants. It's on all the major podcast platforms, and then we also have it. The show also airs on YouTube. So if you just go Believe, BLEAV,
okay,
Believe in Giants.
Cool. Is it on all throughout the year or just football season?
No, it's on throughout the year.
Cool.
During football season, we go twice a week.
Nice.
In the off season, we do stuff when it's worthy of when there's some news or something to talk about.
Awesome. I do consider myself, believe it or not, my allegiance is my bankroll. I always say that, but I guess I grew up a kind of a Giants fan growing up where I grew up. It's been a rough few years though, so I wanted to ask you, like, it feels like maybe now they're trying to do some things over there, and I always hear about that. Literally, like every year, they're trying to do things over though and build up. I wanted to know, what do you feel? Do you feel some optimism about what's happening here with the staff and Dan Jones, or what do you think is going on?
Well, I'm optimistic about the fresh set of ideas that have been brought into the organization. They hired Joe Shane as the general manager. He hired Brandon Brown, who's a brilliant young football mind from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's only 32 years of age. He's a Long Island kid, played at Fordham. Philadelphia didn't want to lose him. Then they hired Brian Dable, and then he went out and he brought in a lot of coaches from other winning programs, but not all from sort of the same culture. So it's a very diverse sort of group of people that have come together. And this is the first time in a long time it really feels like a fresh start from an organization standpoint. They have kind of insided out at everything. And they realized that sort of the pattern that they've been following for the last 7 or 8 years wasn't working. And I think this is the first real reboot that they're doing. I don't know if it's going to translate into more wins. Hey, maybe some better coaching, better plan, some better strategies, but they've also been in salary cap hell and haven't spent a lot of money in free agency, but they're trying to build this thing up the right way and see what they have in Daniel Jones. Signing Tyrod Taylor was a nice move because Jones gets hurt a lot. And if Jones doesn't pan out, they can dive right back into the draft next year because evidently the quarterback class next year is much better and they could start over then. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the Giants becoming suddenly a 10-win team based on the moves that they've had to make. But this is a very critical draft for them as well because they have so many picks that they've got to hit on these guys, and these guys have to be day one starters and guys that have impact for them.
Cool. Thanks, John.
Wow, this was great, Bob. Last question before we let you go. I'm a huge baseball fan, and as is Bill. I'm curious, do you think the Mets and Yankees will both be contenders this season?
Well, I'm born and raised in the Bronx. Both my parents grew up in the shadows of Yankee Stadium, so that's kind of where my allegiance is. Look, here's the problem that I have with the Yankees. They're built to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're built to sell all those tickets. And the problem that they've had is they don't have the grit that you need or whatever when you get into the postseason.
Yeah.
The strikeout, you can get away with, a lot of home runs and a lot of strikeouts and all that stuff during the regular season because you're beating up on teams with smaller payrolls and lesser players. But when you get into the postseason, as has been evident with the Yankees, it's no World Series. And I don't know if they've done enough to really address that this year.
Yeah.
The Mets, on the other hand, I mean, obviously they've made some moves. They have a new owner who's willing to spend. They always seem to be cursed, though, with some of these injuries. I think the Mets will be in contention just based on pitching. And the Yankees are always in contention because they'll slug their way into contention. It's just I don't see either team winning a World Series as they're constituted.
Wow, great stuff. Bob, we really appreciate you taking your time coming on, and like to have you on again right before NFL, maybe to talk some more football, if that would be okay with you.
Guys would love to do that.
Great.
Love to do that. We'll get you on our show as well.
Absolutely. Love to do it. Thanks.
Thank you. Crack, I know I say this, I feel like I say this almost after every great guest.
Yeah, this was good.
Bob Papa was amazing.
Bob Papa was easily one of the most well-spoken guests that we've had, so I really appreciate him taking his time to come on. And we have a big guest in the wings.
I was wondering if you were going to tease it, because you told me. I'm so excited about next week's show.
Yeah, I talked to Vinny Pazienza on the phone. Now he's known as Vinny Paz.
Yeah.
For about 30 minutes yesterday, so he's going to come on. He's going to be a great guest, and he's like a lot of my buddies. They don't, they have flip phones now. They have their first smartphone, and he's like, I think I can do it. You send me something, I'll click on it. So I hope visually, I'd like to get him.
You showed me a photo that you took with him 2 years ago. He looks incredible. He looks like he could step in the ring tomorrow.
He's a gangster.
He's
a gangster too.
Yeah.
Lives up there in I think Rhode Island, right? Or Masters? I think he's but he's a gangster.
Super excited for next week's show. As always, a fun time. This flew by today. This was a really fun one.
Great show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in and having us. And we look forward to next week's show again. And again, always appreciate you guys tuning in. You're the reason why we're here. Thank you.